Hello, gang. Sorry, a couple minutes late. I was freezing my nads off here. It's Encino. It's the valley. It should not be this cold. It's freaking cold out. Yeesh. Let's see. Let's see how cold it is. All right, weather. My wife actually got a cold, so she's inside. I didn't want to be a jerk and be like, I'm talking to my guitar friends. You can't come in and have your breakfast. Yeah, it says it's 50 degrees. That's nuts. Oh, I got my Past Effects beanie on. It's my walking beanie. There it is. How's everybody doing? Everyone have a good Christmas? Christmas people have good Christmas? And not Christmas people have good time off? God, I can't get this straight. Nan, I can't read if I do that. All right, here we go. Done. Sorry. Hey, Braxel. Hello. I did, Braxel. I liked your star guitar. That it was another cosign of like, yeah, the star guitar is really cool. And to be honest, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I got to get one. Humbucker in the bridge, mini humbucker in the neck. I kind of want it just like Dave's finish, though. I don't know if I know Dave's here. Hi, Dave. I don't know if Dave would be like, that's my finish. That's my picture. But it's really cool picture. So I think I'm going to order one. Super cool. Good morning, Cole. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. I just finished my bagel and I'm having my coffee. Hello, Dave. Hope you're having hope you're getting some time off. Whoa. 26. That's proper cold. That's proper cold. Yeah, it's cold. It's a cold one, gang. All right, we should talk some guitar stuff. Jason. Yeah, I hate you. I know, me too. Now I have to buy a damn Syn 20 and Marshall module. Quad Cortex. Oh, I saw your comment. Yeah. To be honest, the Syn 20 and Quad Cortex in like 4-cable method is really great. And then you could always, I think you could do that on the Quad Cortex, have it where it bypasses the preamp, and you could also then throw in your digital preamps into the power amp to give you more channels. Yeah. For the long, I've had a Quad Cortex for a couple of years, and I would hit a wall every time because they didn't have a micro pitch shift, and there was a way to do it where you separate out and do like several layers of stuff, but it was just silly. But now they added it in the latest firmware. They have that just in time for me too. I just got an Axe-Fx 3 Turbo because a friend of mine, I have a couple friends that are like Axe-Fx masters, and yeah. And I still have the Quad Cortex and the Kemper and all that stuff. But the biggest reason for the Axe-Fx is that the last time I played live, I had so much stuff and so many cables. I had the Plexi, a power station, my pedal board, my cab. It was just cables everywhere that when we finished, it took me like 20 minutes by myself. Everyone was done tearing down, and I was just by myself on stage, cable after cable and stuff. So what I really want to do is have the Axe-Fx is, I'm running it 4-cable, but I'm still going to run an amp. So the Axe-Fx is just the effects, like the effects loop stuff, and I could plug into it. So I plug into wireless. I got a NUX wireless that's really good, actually. And it was so inexpensive. I'm going to do an A/B of the Shure, the kind of well traveled Shure one, and the NUX, but NUX is good. So I'll go into the NUX, into the Axe-Fx, and then that's looping that guitar amp stuff, and it's all just sort of like pre-wired, and then into the cab. So that's all way back there. And then I have like this freedom. I'm not tripping on cables, and then I have one cable that goes to the Fractal pedal board, which can switch amp channels and do all that kind of stuff. So super cool. And I actually think this next go around, I'm going to take, well, I'm taking it to rehearsal. I'm going to take the Syn 20 IR with the Marshall module and the Axe-Fx and see how that holds up. You know, you kind of never can tell. I had it loud in my studio. My ears were ringing actually after I made those videos, which was too loud. But you can't really tell until you get it into the band and go, okay, I am missing that sub lows that the 100-watt head gave, because I think you could even hear on the videos when you're going through a cab, the Syn 20 is this great rich mid range. That's dialed, and the top end is pretty close. The 100 watts is a little harder and a little extended. And then, but the 100 has like another octave of information. It's like a deep pad, which in an SM57, one SM57, it sort of goes away. In person, it's definitely hulking on the bottom. Through the direct outs, it's invisible. There's like no difference on the direct outs. But live, when you're only being heard through the cab, it might make a difference. I'm not sure. I'll see. I definitely have the biggest sound in my cover band. Although the keyboard player, because he's coming out of all speakers, when he goes and does like a Rush or Van Halen big synth bass, it sounds huge. So, but you know, the poor drummer doesn't get mic'd up, so it's a bit weird. Uh-oh. Gonna make Star Guitar and the diver down. Shoot. That's also dangerous. That's quite cool. I think that the black and red lightning bolt though, it screams like 1982, which is so right on the money of where our cover stuff is landed. Yeah. Peter Urban Photo. Peter Urban Photo, are you a photographer, Peter? Or do you just do you have a page that like you take pictures and you like to show your photos? Let me know. I'd love to see your work. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know you love the Syn 20. Yep, but is there a way to get a similar quality result with Syn 2 in a rack? Yeah, maybe with an Axe-Fx 3 otherwise. Yeah, so that's the next phase. Andrew Sinowek, the amazing session guitar player, but the amazing LA first call guitar player. I lent him my Syn 20, my Syn 50 power amp, and my X88 IR preamps to check out. And he dug them, and I went and saw him at the Baked Potato, and he was using all that stuff too, and he sounded amazing. So that was really fun and really cool. But I have to get it back from him because I've been like, yeah, dude, I want to use this in the Syn 2. So I just bought a rolling 6-bass rack, or did I get 8? I think I got a rolling 6-bass rack, and I'm gonna do the Syn 2, the Axe-Fx, and a power amp, and that is going to be, in theory, that's the next phase of trying it, because I guess I'd like I like the Syn 2 power amp, and I love the direct out on the Syn 2, but I don't need it all in that one head if I'm using the rack stuff. So in theory, that is what I'm going to do. And I think you'll get similar results. The Syn 20 IR has a thing about it when you're going to the outputs. It's a combination of stuff that it focuses the mid-range bit in a really nice way. It's loud, but it's not as like if you just kind of pulled the top and the bottom and extended that and made it super firm. That's the 100-watt version of things. Similar in a way to the like the Friedman twin sister, the 40-watt 2-channel head, and the Friedman little sister, the 20-watt version. They sound the same, but just ever so slightly different around the edges, where the 40 is just a little more firm, a little more headroom, but there's a real charm in that 20-watt, the little sister. That's just like, yeah, that sounds great through every microphone, and when you're sitting in front of it, it's unreal. So yeah, the Syn 2 Axe-Fx, I got it dialed in. The Axe-Fx, that is. Boy, it took me a long time. This is the third, maybe fourth Axe-Fx I bought and then instantly sold because I finally figured it out. I was talking to Phil McKnight, and he sort of helped align my brain grapes into the direction how I need to think about it, because I was so frustrated every time because I had this approach. The Axe-Fx is the supercomputer of these modelers, right? It's like the most powerful one and all this. So I go, okay, all right, big boy, let's see what you got. And I look at my pedal board and I go, let's start each pedal. And I look at my Past Effects Hot for Flanger pedal, which is the raddest flanger ever. I love it so much. And I go, let's match it or beat it. And I can't. None of the modelers or plugins can beat it. I'm like, okay, well, ding. That's ding number one. And then I go to my favorite delay, and I'll go to many favorite delays. Like I'll go to the PCM 42, the PCM 70, the Yamaha D1500, and I go, okay, let's match it. And it can't. It doesn't. All right, Memory Man. Nope. And they have these models in there, and all of them, it doesn't match it or beat it. And it's really frustrating. And a lot of it is the character. And then some of it is just how it trails off. Like the Axe-Fx delays have a weird thing. It's almost like there's a noise gate at the end. And there isn't, but it'll be going ding, 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 ding. A great delay will just go forever, and you lose track of it. The Axe-Fx one goes ding, 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 or off. You won't hear it when you're playing with a band, but when you're A-Bing like that, you're like, what are you doing? I don't know if it's to save DSP or just how they did it, but so a lot of frustration there. But once I took that hat off and said, okay, well, what if I just forgot that it's not the best delay in the world and the best flanger in the world and the best chorus in the world, and I just went with it and built the song, then it was actually working really well, and I actually dialed in some really nice stuff. And I figured out that in the Axe-Fx 3 with the full res IR, it's long enough that I could put in my Rack Revival delay and reverb IRs of the IR of the PCM 70, and you can't do long delays and stuff, but I could do like the Sunset Sound Chamber. I could do the Roland SRV 2000 reverb hall that is the sound of Appetite Destruction, the reverb for Slash and stuff. And I could do some shorter pan delays from the PCM 70, and it has the character instantly. And then if I need something long, I'll just use the Axe-Fx one. So I'm sort of cheating a little bit, but it can do it. So I'm pretty happy with the results. It's pretty good. I still might loop in the analog flangers and stuff. There's just no Nothing, no digital can do that. And I was using the Hot Tone, the little guy, Hot Tone Stomp, which sonically and characteristically was better than the Axe-Fx. The sound, if you took individual one by one, the sound of the effects and said which one sounds better, I think it was a not even a question. This is really making me crazy. How bad is my hair today? All right, it's pretty nutty, but whatever. The Hot Tone characteristic of all the effects sounded better. Instantly, you'd put up a thing and go, yeah, that delay sounds good. I'm right at home, and I stop thinking about it, and I go, bam. The Axe-Fx took a lot more tweaking and noodling and stuff like that. In the end, I'm happy over here. But if I could get the Hot Tone in an Axe-Fx 3 rack, then that's the slam dunk. Yeah. So we'll see. I talk to Hot Tone all the time, and I'm like, guys, rack. Hey, John. White stuff falling from the sky. Ay, ay, ay. That's my dog over there. So you don't like that Danelectro headstock on the Star guitar? That's probably the most controversial part of it, which is funny because the Star shape is pretty controversial. But I really came around on it. I started looking at the Kramers and stuff because I'm like, oh, okay. And the EVH. But I actually don't think I like those as much as that Danelectro, the Snakehead headstock. I really came around on it. I think what might be the coolest is kind of more of a Flying V-ish headstock, ultimately. I don't know. Maybe they can maybe Dave, are they willing to try a sort of a Flying V headstock? In the quest for tuning stability, if I add a locking nut and fine tuner tailpiece to my Les Paul, would ruin the way it plays. Yeah, I wouldn't. If you like the Les Paul, I wouldn't. That's I think a dangerous game you're playing there, and it's more it's the nut, because the locking nut feels so different than a traditional bone nut. A different route I would go is I would go locking tuners, and I don't know if I think a fine tuner tailpiece might be fine. I don't really love the way those look. I would rather have a Floyd Rose than like the stopped fine tuner tailpiece, but more power to you if you dig it. It's cool. But definitely I wouldn't add a locking nut. It's just so much, it's traumatic to add that to your Les Paul. But locking tuners are not a big deal. I would try that first. You might not even need to replace the tailpiece. Just go with locking tuners and see. And it's not a permanent thing. You could just swap them out. And should be okay. Although you have to do a little homework to find some that are not so heavy in that Les Paul headstock. I haven't really looked deep into that, but that's the direction I would point you. How about we'll say that. Lamar Brewster. Such a beautiful name, the way that's written. Good morning. Have you ever considered making a video about your studio gear? I have. My studio gear has dwindled, and not because I've been forced to sell it off or anything. I just don't use it as much, so I just keep packing it away. And a lot of it is just the technology got better. think that's a lot of it. And a lot of it is work related too. So if I'm working with a client, and I write a piece, let's say they commission it or request it or however, So I'm working on a trailer or a piece of score, and I go, yes, okay. First round, I'm like, this is it. Use some tube EQs and all the Neves and stuff, whatever is required, the Bricasti reverb and that. And then if I send it back now, if they go, oh, that's great, can you just extend this part or, make this part feel a little different? Okay, great, cool. But if they're like, all right, keep the first 15 seconds and then, let's go a different direction. All that outboard gear, I'm like, well, there's your shot. You don't get the outboard gear next time. So then I just go plugins, and I could recreate almost everything with just the plugins. And if they don't care, then I sort of stop caring on that stuff. Depending on what it is, the project is. But if they're going to run me through 15 revisions, I go plugins and that. But back to your actual question, I do have, if you search through my channel, the backlog, I do run through, especially at the old studio. I went through all that, the gear. I guess I should do it again because it's a little out of date. The other thing is my room is just generally messy. I haven't been able to get it clean enough to where I want to show it. What you see is the window that's clean, and then everything else is catastrophe, Mini humbuckers seem to be getting some deserved love. Yeah, you know what? I love them I think it's a Les Paul Deluxe. I think they're killer in that, and Firebirds. But my love for the mini humbuckers, Paul Gilbert had one in his little pink guitar in the 80s that he shredded the shit out of stuff with, There you go. Session solos. Dave, Session Solos wants you on a interview. Put up the bat signal. I'll connect you guys. Braxel, I got both your red IR pack and the EVM12L, and I've been mixing the two IR packs together. Can I blend two IRs? What do you think? The only trick, well, hey, thanks. I hope you like them. The only trick is I haven't really looked to see if they're phase aligned. So that could be an issue. But if you're using an IR loader that has like phase compensation delay, you can kind of tweak it. I used to, if you go back 10 years, I used to have to use 2 or 3 IRs and like blend and that. But the whole kind of point of my IRs was to avoid that. Excuse me a sec, guys. Cold. So, and the same reason I don't really like over put descriptions of like, this is the SM57 at this angle with this, is because it's kind of all bets are off. I want it to sound good. So I don't really care that it's a 57 with this and this angle with this. It's like, just give me the thing. I want it to be a consistently good sound across different amps and different scenarios and different songs and parts and guitars. So I mean, I do have different ones, as you said. Like I have the EV pack and stuff that was Andrew Sinewex 112s, and then I have the I have like the Steve Vai cab, and I have a cab that Dave gave me many years ago, which I'm so grateful for because that was such a big part of like, oh yes, that is half of the sound is a great Marshall cab or that Marshall style cab. But I have them dialed to where I think they're kind of done. If anything in the mix, if I ever do anything, it's usually like I'll trim off a little bottom, and then maybe add a little top end or something. But I try and keep it really subtle contours, just depending on the drums kind of dictate a lot of it, and how mixy you're making it. If you're trying to keep it demo-y, then you don't need to do anything. But if you want to try and get a little more, for instance, if you listen to like a Wolfgang record, they're very not over mixed because they sound great, but they're hyper mixed. And so, like, if you just hit mute on everything and listen to the guitars, they're not going to sound that awesome. They're going to be bright and stuff. I bet you if you took all the mix away, everything sounds just more raw and big and fat and stuff. So it's that kind of difference I'm talking about. But so, yeah, I'm always for, yeah, try it, but I don't think it necessarily needs it. There's more EV speaker content coming. They've put together a cab that has a vintage EV and a Zakk Wylde EV in there. And I tried it yesterday. And it sounded awesome. But they didn't really sound at all the same. At all. Angus, greetings. What's my favorite load box that you'd recommend to someone that's new to that way of recording? Well, if you're just looking for a load box and not the second half of it, we'll say, which is another power amp. So you plug in your amp, it hits the load box, and then it's re-amplified. You could put that at any volume. So it sounds like you just want to record. Then that side, I would look at the Red 7 IR is really good. That sounds great, and it has IRs built in, and the load box sounds great. I would look at the Saint Rock load box, which the latest one sounds really good. Sounds like the Red 7 pretty much. I mean, they've hit this level where that's sort of where the benchmark is. There might be a little more room to go, but it's pretty close. And then the Fryette Power Load might be the cheapest. If you get the Power Load, not the Power Load IR, if you find one of those used, it sounds like the Power Station, which is really good. It's a little more spongy than the like Red 7s, which are a little more flat in a good way, balanced, I should say. But the cheapest one might be the that I like is maybe the Fryette Power Load. And then if not, I would look in like the Red 7 or the Saint Rock. Michael Torin, cheers. I feel like I haven't seen Michael Torin for ages. A man travels. Oh, he used to be a photographer. Were you able to retire and now just play guitar? Gosh, that sounds like the dream if that's the case. How cool would that be? That's always dangerous. Send you some pics. You didn't clarify what you're sending pics of, but it's all right. I'll open them. Star guitar. You were heavy into loudness and Akira. Oh, how cool! The Country Club in Reseda. I don't remember that one. I didn't really go to shows very much when I was a kid. Do you remember? It was really hard to even know when anyone came to town. You had to look in. There was like a small section in the newspaper, the calendar section, and maybe what was that other? There was a big like a newspaper that came out like weekly. Is huge. Not Recycler, but like LA Weekly. I want to say you'd have to look for stuff, and then getting there was always trouble because I didn't have a car and stuff. Found a Hughes and Kettner Access preamp for an okay price in Spain. Well, are you in Spain, or is just the preamp in Spain? If you're in Spain and you could get it for less than 500 US dollars, then I'd say go for it. If you're in the States and you have to import it from Spain, I would say if you could get it for less than $400, then get it. Is it good? Yep, it's really good. Is it great? No. Not so great that it's like worth it. Is it cool? Yes. Does it look cool? Yes. I don't know if y'all remember what it looks like, but it's like basically up and down buttons for each control. So if you want to turn up the gain and turn up the bass, you got to go tick 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 tick. It's a really annoying, but it's like the Triaxis from Mesa Boogie. So you're just setting presets really, and it's up there. It's like at that kind of level with the Hughes and Kettner sound. It's really good. I believe it was designed by Thomas Blue. Great stuff. But it's like you could get a Sin 20 IR, and it's up to date with all the cool stuff, and it's like sounds amazing. But the Access preamp is great. It's good. I just it should be worth $500. $7 if it's like mint. Lost in PA. I went through my gear. You have an ADA MP1, nice. JMP1, nice. TCG Force, nice. BB Sonic Maximizer, nice. And it's back on my desk, nice. It's an 80s kind of winter here. Love it. That is great. Sin 20, is it loud with a built-in attenuator? It doesn't have a built-in attenuator, it has a built-in load box. So it is loud. 20 watts can be loud. It's quite loud. But loud with the same kind of headroom as a 50-watt head or a 100-watt head. Not the same ceiling. But those, like, how often do you get to go to a gig and turn your 50-watt head up to 7? Like, that doesn't happen. How about your 100-watt non-master volume head? Are you allowed to turn it up to 8? I mean, it's just so massive. So 20 watts might be great. I am tempted. I gotta maybe see if I could borrow a Friedman Jake Ely 50, because that might be good. And there's some new stuff coming at NAMM from my my Friedman and Synergy friends and stuff. Not Friedman / Synergy as a product, but the Friedman has amazing stuff coming out, and Synergy has amazing stuff coming out. That might be super cool for me. But yeah, Sin 20 is loud. The attenuator is not an attenuator. That's just the load box. So you can go, you don't have to have it plugged into a speaker. You could just go straight to your computer. Or if you're playing live, you could have a cab and go straight to the PA as well. Oh, okay. Here, Michael Torn is chiming in on the Hughes and Kettner Axis. Says he likes it more than the Triaxis. If my memory recalls, Michael Torn was never a huge Triaxis fan. There are many people that are not huge Triaxis fans. That John Petrucci Images and Words connection is hard for me to get past. That it's like, oh, I love that tone so much. So yeah, the Hughes and Kettner Access is good. Q-Stick. Can you recommend a bridge humbucker with a JB levels of output? More open, less mid-focused. More open. Okay, well, I'm gonna go off book here. I'm gonna like, if you look at some of the Tom Anderson pickups, like H2 plus H3, they are interesting. They are more open. They are less like crunchy mid focus than a JB. JB has that sort of crack, like upper mid range crack that I really like. That sounds cool. But if you're not looking for that, you want something flatter, maybe like a Tom Anderson or a Sir is like a, there are certain Sirs that are less cracky and they're more just balanced. We'll say balanced. You know, the other one, if you just want to go like straight up, DiMarzio Super Distortion is like the other flavor of JB. Without that, it's a different kind of thing. It's mid focused in a different place, but that might be the ticket. Maybe that's hard because we're talking about tone and stuff without really any reference point, but there's a couple things you could look at. Cool. You want a 412 with and load it with some classic lead 80s. Those have come up a couple times in my recent conversations in the past couple months as a sort of a less brash, not quite as just flat as an EV, but it can be cool. All right. Jason says, check out the Jalen Guitar JD Star Humbucker. Jalen Guitar JD Star Humbucker. Jalen Guitar, built in the USA. Alistrada is showing some. Oh, that's a Crossroad pickup beep. Oh, he's just demoing stuff. All right. Interesting. I'm pretty sure that's in regards to the Axe-Fx. Or maybe the quad core thing. Doesn't matter. Yep. Yeah. I know. Here's where I got to. I kept going to like, I'd start programming my set and stuff and sounds, and then I'd get to like, just going back to my pedal board. My pedal board sounded amazing, but to do it right, I needed the pedal board to be almost twice as big as that. It's getting humongous. Huge, mungus. So I don't know. I'm taking this journey knowing that there's a possibility that I'll go play and be like, nope, not working. And I just spent all this time days programming and learning how to use this stuff. And I'm just going to go back to my pedals. Gone back to heads with reactive loads. It makes digital not as reactive to my, what makes it not as reactive to my volume knob? I need my volume knob to be reactive. I don't really know the technical answer to that, but it's certainly the case. I mean, we've captured amps with the sole purpose of going like it has to do that thing where you roll the volume back, and you could get a color of the gain pretty freaking close, and then you roll the volume back and like, well, it's not quite as close over here. not quite as close over here. And this is like the next generation of stuff, like the V2s of the best thing that's ever come out. And so it's like, it doesn't really give me any mega hope for like what Line 6 is saying. They're like, oh, we got this new thing that's the greatest ever. It's like, it can't do it. I mean, you can't beat the tubes. You got to get them in there. They do too much. If you see me bouncing, it's just I keep shaking my legs because it's really cold out here. Oh, they call it a Coke bottle headstock in Danelectro's world. Interesting. I know the snakehead, a Shabbat has a snake head, which I don't like on like Strats and Tellys typically, but dude, I love it. I have this one. It's the guitar it looks like a black Les Paul Custom, but it's a Telly with a P90, and I thought it looks amazing on that. Yeah, I'm going to NAMM. I'll probably just be hanging out at the Friedman booth maybe a day. I don't know if I want to walk around. No good things come from walking around. Ooh, Angus Clark. Kluson Revolution die-cast locking tuners are a great option for Les Paul. Thank you for that. That is cool. And I actually might look into that too, because my Burst R8 Les Paul, boy, that thing does not stay in tune. It's the same reason that light's getting nasty. Sorry. Same reason that I don't ever use that live is because you'll see so many cuts in my videos because mostly I'm tuning the guitar. I play something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna tune it again. Gotta tune it again. It makes editing really suck, but that guitar is like so homey for me. I wonder if that'll help. Mention a new Fryette power amp. Did I? I don't remember mentioning a Fryette power amp. Honest. Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell. Oh, making my hair look extra crazy too. Which direction is it supposed to go? Go that way. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like I should probably just take it to a guy and have him like sweeten up that Les Paul. It's due, you know. Paul Gilbert with the mini hums in the Epiphone wheelchair or cornet body shape is the real deal. Yeah. I remember seeing him and as a kid and going like, that is hideous. And then he plays. I'm like, all right, no, it's actually pretty cool. He won me over with his amazing shreds. Stavk. Hey, love the new album. Thank you. I have a new album called Songs from the Noisy Kitchen. It's on all the streaming platforms and on my website. You can get it there. There's like the full res masters, like 2448 wave files. People told me the download's too big. It's like 3 gigs. Because then there's also backing tracks. There's tabs for all the songs. There's a lot in the digital part, if you're so inclined. Hey, when I was watching the Synergy JMP and the Plexi comparison, did you use the direct out? Yeah, in the first video, I used the direct out and load boxes. And check out the new video, the reveal. It says reveal. That one says everything. So, and then I showed it through the 412 on that as well. Eric Frazier. Hey, dude. Is there a favorite guitar I wish I never sold? You know, the only one I don't have a lot of guitar selling regret, because usually by the time I sell a guitar, I really don't. I'm like, no worries. It's fine. And I've sold some really nice ones, but maybe on the nicer side, I had a Collings Soho or SoCal Soho. I can't remember. It was like a single cutaway semi hollow that was beautifully made and just so boring. It was so nice. It was boring. So I guess I don't regret selling that one. And then the only one I regret is my very first guitar, and I keep looking for it. Like, is a Yamaha with a blue sparkle finish, all single coils, and some really shitty Yamaha tremolo. Yamaha SA something. From the first guitar I had when I was a kid. There got to be a bunch out there for like $50. But yeah, I'd love to have that again. Never sell your first guitar. Oh yeah, the Tone King Iron Man is really great. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it as the load box. It does that, but it didn't love it as much for that. There were certain amps that sounded great as the load box, but it was more case by case. As an attenuator, it was fantastic and one of the best I've heard. I did not do any immersive audio on my album. It just was too much of a huge undertaking for like little. Either I was going to have to pay someone a lot of money to do it, or I was going to have to take a ton of time to do it, and neither were going to have any payoff. Hey there, Mark. Happy holidays, buddy. BAM Magazine. That is what it was. It was BAM Magazine. Thank you. You saw Racer X at the country club at least twice. In Reseda? Angus, were you in LA, kid? What's the best Boss OD1 clone that comes closest to the original? I think the closest bet is to go get a Boss OD1 off of Reverb. They're not terribly expensive. It's like fairly usable or fairly like gettable, you know? Oh, sweet. Angus just texted me those Kluson Revolution tuners. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, I'm going to try that. That's great. Thank you. I just was looking at Verley from Past Effects. This is hard to do. Past Effects. Verley from Past Effects is making one called, I think, the OG one, which fixes the problem, which it cuts off so much bottom end. So that has a 3-way switch of how much bottom it's going to cut. And then it has some other like tweakable stuff. But she's so nerdy on the analog stuff. Like, she goes so deep. I'm highly confident that it's going to be great. Because she just goes all in to the Nerdville and stuff. So check out Past Effects OG1. Otherwise, just get I bought one not too long ago. It was not terribly priced. And with Boss pedals, sometimes they're like, you got to get the long dash, Japanese made, whatever. You don't, dude. I've gone down that rabbit hole and they sound the same. If anything, sometimes I like the newer one better I'm not even talking about like the Wazacraft, just like the newer one sounded better. So you don't have to trip on getting like the first serial number or whatever. Yeah, I pimp that shit. Shit. Yeah, it's good and it's cheap. I mean, that's the thing. The Recycler magazine used to find old Marshalls that were $300, $500. Oh yeah, dude. I bought a JCM 800 for $500 at a store when I was like 22. And I was like, I can't use it. It's so crazy loud and stuff. But that's why, you know, no one knew how to use it. Back to the Access, that Hughes and Kettner, it is on par with the 3 Plus SE. It's just different, you know. It's its own thing, but sound quality wise, that's the thing. All of those guys were making such high quality gear. It just, I look at it as, so if they made the Hughes and Kettner preamp with any Hughes and Kettner tone, but like that's not any record. So my reference point for what a great tone is really the records from 1978 to 1995. You know, if we're talking about like preampy kind of stuff in this sort of higher gain world. So like there's nothing, the Axis can be great. It doesn't sound like a particular album or anything. So it kind of has a ding against it because no fault of its own. It was a little late to the party. But it's really good. Thanks, guys. I see everyone's chats. I'm super speed reading and hello and everyone. I appreciate y'all being here. That's really cool. I'm getting cold, so I might go in a minute. Oh, okay. Here was the problem with the hot tone is changing patches. Oh, jeez. I just got blasted with the light. It's coming over the hill. Oh my God. It's so bright. It's so bright, guys. Look, like I'm going on a spy mission now. Holy smokes, that came in hot. The problem with the hot tone was that no, my eyes look terrible. But the more I could cover my face, the much better I look. It's a magic. Is that it has 3 buttons, 1, 2, 3. Great, I could work with that. And then to change presets, you either have to have a separate pedal to change the presets, or you stomp 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, right? You go up or down. Wouldn't it make sense? Preset up, preset down. But no, it's bank up. So it's a group of 3, and then you select which preset within those banks, and then you leave bank select and get back to your individual stomp select. Dude, I can't think of that shit. That is too much. I was by myself in a very calm scenario and I made mistakes and couldn't get out of it. So if I'm on stage and 12 people are looking at me going like, why is this idiot? I want to hear another song. Why are you just stepping on this box? So I don't know. I have to use like an RJM switcher or something like that to then control it. I mean, it's just more programming. I don't know. I'm kind of just waiting for the Friedman preamp. That'll be first. And then I want the hot tone rack processor. And I want Super Killer 1U power amp. And then I'll just wheel my rack around. Ben's here. Hi, Ben. Hello, hello, hello. All right. What do I think about pre-roll Celestion G12Ms? Thinking of buying an old 69 Marshall cab with 4 original G12s. I say go for it. Now, I've been really lucky. I haven't owned these, but I've been really lucky to hear the best, what I would say are some of the best cabs in the world. Maybe the best cabs in the world because of things I've done with like two notes and like getting to go in and listen to like all of Dave's cabs and then hearing Pete Thorne's cabs and then hearing George Lynch's cabs and then hearing some other people I can't talk about, but they're like have the best cabs in the world and all these vintage cabs and stuff. I don't super love. Okay, there's a peak. So if you go back in time, you go like, okay, like mid 80s vintage is fantastic into the late 70s. And then as you get into the 60s, like, okay, well, it turns way more vintage than I want it to be. It gets really vintage sounding. So I want that sweet spot of the vintage that is big and broad and full and warm and clear. There was like this really nice sweet spot of vintage to modern that comes across there. And to be honest, the closest cabs that I go like, yeah, I could just grab one and play that is the Friedman BE cabs, the 412s. And I think those come with greenbacks and vintage 30s combination. Like when we AB'd those and did the two notes, like that sounded as good as anything. Like they sounded big. They could lean vintagey. They could lean super modern. Those sounded amazing. But again, if you want to go full vintage, I'm all for it. It's just gonna sound really vintage. So you got to be ready for real vintage. If you're a guy that's going, hey, I love the sound of 5150, I'm going to go back and get like the earliest 1969 cab. I think you it's not the direction you would want to go. If you're saying I love Clapton Blues Breakers stuff, then yeah, then definitely go back. Oh, another flag for the Clusons. Cool. That's a hard question to answer because food prices are always high in LA. Are they more high than normal? Not really. I mean, you could always go to the grocery store and get some Tupperwares and throw that in there. It's cheaper than Disneyland, which is right across the street. All right, since this is a lot about Les Paul tuners. Another good option for Les Paul tuners are the Gotoh SD90. I have the split heads, like a vintage style tuner on a Fender. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Hey, Axis, I gotta try the Licklerm Prometheus. Cool. I really like the other Licklerm that I've tried. It was great. I used it on one of the songs for my album. That was the Herald of Sleep. It had a really unique sort of tone. It was like super gainy, but had a nice bite to it. And then I don't know where they went. They just kind of like I thought they were going to take off a little bit, but I haven't seen much of them. tried the 21. It's just too thin. Well, I mean, it's all kind of comes down to what you're playing. I've tried the Little Sister live, and it sounded big, it sounded huge. And I tried the Astro 20, and that sounded big. Some of it's cab, but yeah, I mean, I could certainly see a scenario where 20 watts is not enough. Hey, what did I think of Vito Bratta's playing on Pride? Oh, I think it's great. Vito had just such a that if you go back to the album before that called Fight to Survive, that's great too, because it's a little more like Randy Rhoads metal, darker. And then Pride is the sweet spot, and then Big Game I love, but there are some shitty songs on that album. There's like 4 good songs and then like 5 or 6 garbage. Just the worst excuse of a song. Ugh. Playing's all great. Sorry, I got it. Just I was offended by that. And then the final album was good, but it was like, what are you guys doing? They were lost, certainly lost on that. But Pride is great across the board. I was thinking the other day, I was walking the dog, going like, I want to listen to like some Van Halen-y kind of stuff, but I just didn't really feel like listening to Van Halen. What else is there? You would think there would be a million clones. There was a lot of Van Halen, Eddie clones, but like the band, there's not a lot of Van Halen clone-y kind of bands. I don't know. Anyone have any ideas? Like White Lion came to mind, but I don't know. They're not really. It's got to be sort of like major key fun stuff, but with that edge of like the hard rock and edge, and then great guitar playing. Dokken is to like minor key. Who am I missing in there? This is what I want to say. We're going to end on, give me some Van Halen clone-ish kind of bands. Oh, Angus, you went to USC. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Fight on with you guys' business. I'm a UCLA Bruin. Fight on. Blah. Gross. I'm just kidding. We're looking at SC for my son too. It's gonna be really hard if he decides to go to SC and be like, do I have to wear red and gold? It's gonna be real hard. Here's the t-shirt. This is the Friedman amplification t-shirt, or just the Dave Friedman t-shirt. Use the bigger one. I don't even know what he was talking about, but there it is. Use the bigger one. Amanda, hey. Merry Christmas, Amanda. Oh, okay, here we go. Extreme. Yes, okay. Totally, that would be totally. Especially the first Extreme album. That's super Van Halen-y. And then the more I listen to like late 70s Aerosmith, the more I go like, oh my gosh, they were super Aerosmith guys too. I guess the Boston thing too. But yeah, so Extreme. Big Wreck, I wouldn't say that they're Van Halen. They're great, but not Van Halen-y to me, unless I'm missing something. King's X, Van Halen-y. No, I mean, to me, lineage-wise, I would even put King's X more like Rush. They're like, if you injected Rush with like some Rush Beatles and some heavy like bluesy soul. And I'm back. Bullet Boys. I can't say that I ever listened to the album. Just heard the couple singles, Smooth Up In Ya. Just the lyrics. It's just, it all seemed so normal when I was a kid. I'm like, yeah, of course the song is called Smooth Up In Ya. What else would it be? And now it's like, hey, Mom, Have you heard the song called Smooth Opinion? Yeah, you heard me right, Mom. So Rat, I would put Rat in that Dokken, the LA sort of darker metal. I mean, you say dark, but like the more minor key Van Halen. And I would say that's kind of where White Lion was too. Definitely like Rat, Dokken, White Lion. They're in that just one lane adjacent. Thanks, Raphael. I will get to you in a second. You'll be probably the last question. Oh, Dave, use the big hot tone. Hot tone. Hot tone. Use the big one. Use the big one. Yeah, Van Halen's hard to clone. Dave was an incredible lyricist. Like he was such a character that it's easy to forget, but his shit was creative, like a rapper kind of creative, like the way like it or not, like rap changes the way the culture speaks. And Dave, I don't feel tardy, like that is genius. It's so genius stuff. Mr. Big, I love Mr. Big. I guess they're kind of in that world a little bit. I mean, way too straight, time wise. It just didn't have that swing, and I think maybe that's part of it. Like, not a lot of bands have that swing, and that's such a big Van Halen part. But yeah, the first Mr. Big album, dude, I still listen to that all the time. It shows up at least once a week. Something from that. Steel Panther. Oh yeah, I don't really listen to their stuff outside of singles, but I'll put that on. I'm curious if they'll send some out to demo. Oh well, yeah, David Lee Roth band. I do, but I listen to that all the time anyway. Those first three records, by and then Jason. Back to the cab thing. So interesting. Like Lynch had a Van Halen cab, I think that he bought from Eddie or Eddie gave him, that had JBLs and greenbacks in it, and I didn't like it at all. But that's me. I wholeheartedly support your journey, and I think you should get it, and you should report back and see. Let us know if that is where the Holy Land is. All right, Great White, really? Also, haven't really listened to a lot of their stuff outside of the singles. I love the cover. The all over the world. I'm in it round. Feet. I'm in the rock. What's the name of the song? I'm in home enough time. Once bitten, twice shy. Thank you. God, I had to get through the whole thing. Not one ever replicated the big band element. No, it's true. Chickenfoot. I love Joe Satriani, but I look at Joe Satriani as like a sax player, kind of, and like when he plays rhythm, he's such a creative player, but his rhythms don't speak to me in that same way. Not talking shit, because Joe is brilliant. One of my favorites of all time, but just doesn't play party rock. Whatever. Oh, that's an Ian Hunter song. I knew. I gotta go back. I've never heard the original. I just knew it was a cover. You know what? You're not wrong. Pantera is the closest to the Van Halen groove, I think. And part of it, I think, is it was so organically natural for Dimebag and Vinnie Paul. They didn't have to try to play with the swing and groove. They just, it was so part of their thing. And then the brothers just locked in. Yeah, the brother thing, like, and where they came from, it was just like when they play, it's got the swagger. And they were playing at not the peak of their ability to do it. They're just like, when we play, it comes out swaggery. That's the thing. They were so good that they just oozed swagger. I do like that album, Tesla. That's a good one. Oh, no way. I didn't know that. I'm going to listen to that today. Thanks. That's cool. Super, super cool. Super cool, cool. Nice. All right, gang. Well, I think Pete Thorne will be around in a little while. Oh, no, I missed the super chat. I was going to come back to it, and I don't think I did. Super chat, where are you? It's coming up. There it is. There we go. Raphael. Thanks, dude. Hi, Mike. What do you think about DIY guitar pedals? You built a Marshall Governor. That's sweet. I think that's super fun. If I had more time, I would totally get into that. I would totally get into that. The bass player in my group built a Zen drive with his son. Like, of all the things to pick, he's not even like a guitar nerd. I was like, Zen drive? How do you even know what that is? Like, that only like Robin Ford nerds knew what that was. Like, why wasn't it a Tube Screamer or maybe a Klon or something? But yeah, I built a Zen drive. So I mean, it can't be like super hard. I say that I've never done it. I don't know. I try and change pickups. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What do I know? I hope that Governor came out cool. I've got an original one. It's a cool pedal. Really like crack. A lot of like edge on the notes. It's a good one. Good. Congrats. Did you buy a kit? Or you just like, I don't even know how it works. Figure you buy a kit. Then you put it together. It's good stuff. All right, gang. Happy Sunday. Happy New Year. Oh, Michael Torin. Yeah, but that doesn't count because you're smart, technical. You build stuff all the time. You're a professional, smart person. And yeah, Sykes. Yeah. Cheers to Sykes. One of the best that ever lived. For sure. All right, on that note, you didn't miss much. Just me trying to keep the sun out of my eyes and figure out how to keep my hair from looking super crazy. It's looking, there you go. All right, gang. Thanks. We'll see you later.